Hello and good afternoon or evening or morning, depending on where you're watching this video. My name is Manuela. I'm a dietitian and part of the Nutrium team, and it's a pleasure to be here with you for this special demonstration. All right, let's jump right into it. We're going to be talking through the major update to the Nutrium software, and the whole thing has been designed from the ground up to make your day-to-day work way smoother. So this demonstration is all about how we've totally rethought the workflow to save you a ton of time and clicks. So let's start with a question to frame this up. So how much of your day is just lost on clicking, navigating menus, switching between tabs, trying to find that one little piece of patient data, all that friction, it all adds up. And that's exactly the problem with this redesign that we are meant to fix. So the best tools, they shouldn't be demanding your attention, right? They should be just fading to the background. They're there to support your expertise so you can focus on your patient and not fighting with the software. So it's about making the tech feel kind of invisible. So let's get into the nitty gritty, starting with the big picture. So the goal here was just not to give you a fresh coat of paint. It was also creating an experience that's way more agile, more intuitive, with a cleaner look and a much more logical flow. So few clicks to get to point A to point B. Okay, so that means consultation just are just smoother, they're faster, and they way less of the administrative headache. So that does so what does this agile approach actually looks like in your daily work? So let's start where uh, your day starts. So here the homepage. I'm showing here like the before version of the homepage. So you notice that it had all of this information, it had all of your future appointments. And we completely transformed this into the central command of your entire practice. How did we do this? So the new design lets you do much more with this main page. So you can see here that your upcoming appointments are clearly organized and chronological. So you can set the difference between the different days of the week that you'll be having appointments. So you can know that in this day you're only having one appointment, and on this day you'll be having more appointments. This is also a very big game changer. So you are able to see if this is the first appointment of their client or if it is not, if it's a follow up. You can also see here that is a video consultation and the duration that you have set out for these appointments as well. And we also have here a quick button for you to quickly go to your calendar, and all of the same buttons that you had before are still available here. So the button to start, to open the video call, but also these little three dots where you can have more buttons in here, more commands to mark as completed, check the profile, edit appointment date, cancel appointment and anytime. And for the appointments that are not going to start immediately, you even have more buttons to open the call to start that appointment. We also try to flag important information for you. So you can quickly see here the clients that have canceled their previous appointments with you, and you can quickly address that through a message. And you can also see the latest messages, and you have a notification clearly knowing if this message was read by you or not. And we finish with the cherry on top, which is your monthly stats. So you can see on a monthly basis how many new clients you've had, how many appointments have you completed, how many appointments are, how many clients have more than one appointment, and how many messages were sent to your clients. So that's streamline thinking, like it applies to the entire navigation system, and you can see this from now on. When we navigate it to the menus on the left, you can see here the daily task that goes around your nutrition appointments. They're also more logical, and it boils down to one single thing, like finding what you need just faster. So you can see that we have different sections for different actions that you can have. And on the right side menu, When you click on your photo and your name, the menu remains the same with a few structural improvements. So we're going to start with here with your profile. So we can now see that it's more clearer, better structured section. So you can see here your personal information and your professional validation as well, and at the end more information about you. But you can see here on the right your workplaces. So this is super important. Now it's not necessary for you to scroll down to find this information. You can see your workplaces right in here, and here is when you manage everything related to your workplaces. So the the quantity of workplaces that you have is much more easy to interpret. You can also add more workplaces, and when you click in here, we improve the layout of the logo, so it's easier for you to find a logo that fits best within the workplace. And you obviously can have different logos that you can use. And as well for the services, much clearer, much easier to see how many services that you have, the information regarding those services. um, and when you open, you can see more information about that. And do not forget your secretary or assistants, where you can uh, add them to the platform as well. When I move to configuration and purposes, so they all are pretty much the same. I just want to show you here that again, structurized, much better organized, cleaner interface, and it's much faster to navigate between the different sections that we have here available on the platform. So now moving on to the left side menu, it brings together the main features you use in the platform, and it's now even more organized and divided into sections to make it easier for you to navigate on a daily basis. I want to start with the meal plan section, where you have all the tools for building, customizing, and sharing meal plans, and you have a unified layout. So I'll be opening here food sections, and you can see here again that you have the database, all the foods from the database that you have added, but here on the right side, you have the dietary supplements that you can add as well. And this layout goes across all the sections that we have here, so no more endless scrolling to find what we need. And two very important things, and it's also the same across all the sections of the platform. You have here a blue button on the left side, and you have here different filters on the right side. So you always find an action button with the color blue here on the top of the section on the left, and the filters with additional information on the right. So if I go to recipes, you'll find the same button with the same information here, and you also find the filters in here, and overall a better design. If we go to equivalent, you'll also find that information in here. So the blue button and the filters, and again, the section much more clearer to find. So equivalents and food groups. And if you go to the templates, you'll find again the blue button, the filters, and the sections for the meal plan templates and the recommendations or foods to avoid. Going down here to the section, so we join together all the resources that you can find to improve your knowledge about the platform and the knowledge about nutrition. So Nutrium Academy, you can access video lessons, educational materials about nutrition and the software. On your professional website and blog, you can easily manage your online presence, like write blog posts, social media links, and upload your recipes as well. So you can see here that you can also find all this information. And we moved help center here because it's to centralize all the information, all the resources, and a much quicker access to the resources that you need. Going up to the top of the menu, so you can see here that you have the management and the follow-up, and in here you can manage everything uh, related to your practice schedule and your clients. So it has been really redesigned to make organizing your agenda and your patient relationships much better. And you can see here that we maintain the blue button at the top, which allows you to create new appointments. When talking about the schedule, we made it cleaner, more adaptable, with the weekly view as a default, but you can also have the daily view or the monthly view. But the weekly view will be set up always as a default with an awesome detail. So if you want to continue seeing the monthly view, the platform will save this view for later use. So if I go to here to the food section and I go back to the calendar, I will still see my monthly view. But we truly recommend the weekly view, which is better to keep your days organized. Um, Another thing that is super important that makes you have less clicks and save time is, for example, if you're booking appointments for September and if you want to quickly go back to the present day that you're in, you just click here and it brings you back to this to today, so which makes it easier to navigate your calendar. And here at the right, you can also have the filters, but also have your working schedule, and it's much easier to define different work days on your schedule. And in here, you can see your next appointment and any pending appointment request that you might have. So you can answer this request, and you can also see the history of pending requests that you have here. So super easy to navigate within your calendar. So in the client section, you can get a better snapshot of your clients and support retention and follow up and also organize everything that is going on. So at a glance, you can see the contact details, the time since the last appointment, and if they have appointments scheduled for the future or not, and if they have been active on the platform or not. So you can also have these proactive alerts to help you see what you need to do when managing the clients that you have. So for example, I can see here clients that do not have a schedule, an appointment schedule in the future, and address that even by contacting them through their cell phone or by sending them a quick message regarding this appointment as well. So if you go to the follow-up section, so here is where you'll be managing what your clients have been doing, the communications that you've been having with them. So the messaging feature, we made it super clean, super easy to understand. So you have here three different sections. Again, the blue button to send a message, all the filters at the top, but in here three sections where you be organizing your conversation. So whenever there's a new conversation with a client, it pops up with this notification. It pops up the theme, and also pops up the subject of the question where you can open, and it's much easier to see this layout. And this is an unread conversation. And for example, if I answer to this message saying like, let's schedule a session. So if I reply to this, you'll see that when I go to unread, I do not have any conversation over there because all the conversation that I have, I've addressed them. But they will be an open conversation. So I have here ongoing conversations with my clients as well. So if this conversation, for example, is finished, I can just archive this conversation and I can easily see the conversation that I still have open with my clients, and the archived conversations are the ones that I have addressed that questions or the topic has closed. So I can always find here the archived conversations and what has been going on with them. One other thing super interesting is that now it's much easier to see what conversations have been created automatically. So when you schedule appointment, you send a meal plan or you update the recommendations whenever you do an action to the client profile. Nutrition sends an automatic message notifying the client. So whenever we do this conversation, you will know that it was created automatically and you can open to see the content of that conversation as well. When talking about progress, we also made it much cleaner, much smoother to navigate to. We removed all the clutter that was on this page, and now it's just a feed that you can see everything that your clients have been doing and interact with them either by sending them a like or sending them a message. So you can see here exactly what they have been doing, what they have been talking with you, and address this information and interact with them. Now, finally, for the main event, we're going to show you the appointment flow. So I'm going to start here an appointment actually with this client. So I'm going to cancel this appointment with information. Okay, so I'm starting here. Um, so actually for the main event, I'm going to start here an appointment with this client and show you the appointment flow itself. So here the workflow has been completely reimagined to actually reflect how you work with your clients. So it's moving away from some rigid process where you even have a numbered sections, which more fluid and more natural. So uh, it's you're free to do any kind of flow that you want, and now it's pretty logical, and you can use the sections to navigate throughout the appointment. So right at the top you are able to see quickly the tags that you have identified with your clients that you associated them with. You're quickly able to see their age, their phone number, and have here quick actions such as sending them message, scheduling an appointment, starting the video, or even editing this profile. So to edit the profile, you need to click here on the pencil and it opens these different sections of the client profile. In the information here, it's pretty much the same, but you'll see that observations are now at the top. So you are able to register information right in this section, but everything that can be added with a is with historical data or uploaded is right here on the right, and everything that is regarding to the appointment information is right here on the left. And again, the button to send the nutrition assessment form. One thing that we have improved again to reduce endless scrolling and to improve usability as well is collapsing all the sections. So we are able to collapse the session that you are not addressing at the moment and makes it much easier to navigate through the appointment flow when it comes to the information section. When talking about measurements, again, super easy to navigate as well. We divided this into logical sections as well. So the basic measurements, the body composition, and skin folds. And we improve the graphs that we have been working on. So they're much more intuitive to understand. And it's also much more intuitive to understand we who did the measurement or who added the measurement. So in here it was a professional who added the measurement, but in here it was a client who added the measurement. Another great improvement was we got rid of those percentage differences and we added the absolute number. So it's much easier when communicating with the client that they lost 4 kilograms, that they lost 2 kilograms, than that they lost some kind of percentage of their weight. So it's much easier to communicate with them and transmit this much easier information to them. And again, the blue button to register all the measurements here at once. When we move on to the planning, not much has changed. Again, we just try to make it more clear, more intuitive to use. So whenever you see these blocks, these rectangles, it means that you can edit this information. You can add information in, or you can remove the information, or you can select and change the information provided. So it's much easier to understand that. And you can see here that I have here this small calculator, so it's also much easier to understand when numbers have been calculated automatically by Nutrium or not. So if I added this information in here, that prompt will be removed, and if I delete and use the suggested number that Nutrium Pro calculates for me, I'll have this information again. So now when moving on to the meal plan, it's something that we thought a lot about, and we try to make it as intuitive as possible for our nutritionists and dietitians. So it's where you'll be spending most time in. So it needs to be a place free of clutter, free of not streamline activities. So in here you have all the same buttons again. You here have all the prompts that you have, but it's much easier to understand the global analysis, even the global analysis per each meal that you have. So in terms of percentage and in terms of absolute number, so it's much easier to identify different macronutrients because they have a different design. But it's also one thing that we find is that people needed to scroll a lot. For example, if you want to do dinner, so you can also see here the collapsible options to collapse the food that you already worked on. So when we work on dinner, it's super easy. We do not have to scroll as much as we did before, and also super much more super intuitive to find equivalent. So if I want to find an equivalent of potatoes, I have here a specific button for that, and the platform will select a macronutrient or equivalent for me to work on, so I can find this super easily on my databases and add it to my meal plan. One other improvement that we did is we joined analysis with a meal plan. Before it was you created the meal plan, you created all the foods that you needed, and then you have to jump back and forth to different tabs. So now we join analysis right next to the meal plan, so it's much easier to understand the distribution of your meal plan and then go back to the plan if you have to make any changes at all. When it comes to the follow-up, is much similar to the one that you already that you are used to. So you can see here again the feed for the client, and you can see here the different um, logs that I have been doing for each day, and you can see all the information when it comes to the description of the foods and also the global analysis of these clients. So again, you can scroll through the calendar, and you can always go back to today in a quick button, and also filter for different activities that have been done with this client. In recommendations, it's much similar than before. We organize this into the separating what are recommendations with set information, and what are other recommendations. So the overall recommendation that you want to write and with a free text. So you can find that here on the right, and we wrap it all up with a deliverable, so we make it much easier for you again to find the buttons to send the plan through an email, to download a PDF, and here on the left to book the next session with the client, and here on the right to give them access to more information. So in here on the calendar, before you could see the calendar regarding to that client if you were not on an appointment flow. Now you can always see your full calendar in here. Can always see your full calendar in the calendar section. So in here you can see what are the appointments that you'll be having that week, and let's say that you want to schedule the appointment for a month's time, you can see exactly the monthly view, and then you can schedule the meeting for the next month. And if you want to go back again to that to today, you will find you the month that is related to the day that we are in. So on the right, you can send an email or send an SMS or generate a password, recommend lab tests, add appointment notes. This is only for you, so the client does not see this information, and update the client mobile app preferences. You can see here the differences that you are not able to edit the phone number or the email on this section, but you'll find the basic information of the client always on top of each section of the appointment. So you can quickly just click on the pencil and then edit the email or the mobile phone to reflect that on here as well. And after you have sent out the information, so you register all the information of the client, you plan the recommendations, plan the meal plan, plan the water intake recommendations, exercise recommendations. You set out goals with them. You just send all the information that they need to keep doing this after the session, and then you just finish here the appointment with your client. So you put this all together, you put all of these little differences and all these little sections together, and what is the payoff here, right? It's about saving time on every single appointment that you provide. It's about working more efficiently, cutting out all of this extra clicks and administrative drag that you find before. And it's about freeing you to focus on what really matters. So helping your clients and focus on what they are saying and what they are feeling. And that brings our final thought into the workflow. So the software really just gets out of the way to the real question, so you can focus on the real question that is helping your clients. And we hope these features makes it all possible to you. It makes it all better for you to provide a better care to your clients. And we're happy to hear any feedback, any thoughts that help us continue improving.